afternoon. It is Saturday, September 27th. I am Bruce Leonard, and this is Bruce Leonard Leans Left. While it's still legal. It's still legal today, but I don't live in Portland, Oregon. So we need to check in with them, I suppose, to find out just what is legal and isn't these days. It is Saturday, and as usual, we are lucky to have my friend, history professor, host of History on Fire podcast, author, cook, with his shirt off for some reason. Here's my friend Daniele Bolelli, everybody. How are you, my
How's it
friend?
going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good.
Good. Thanks for joining us. What's going on?
I'll tell you a funny story. So I got an email today from a listener of History on Fire.
Mm-hmm.
Very sweet email, very nice guy from Mexico. Talk about, this, that, and the other about the podcast. It was very kind. And then he says, by the way, I think I should bring that to your attention because I'm going to guess that you didn't know about it. And he was correct. I did not know about it. He said, you know how when you put up an episode, they insert like the people who do the ads? Other than, once in a while, there's an ad that I have to read, which obviously I'm aware of what it is. But otherwise, they insert whatever ad in the podcast, and I have no idea what's happening, right?
Right.
And he said, on your latest podcast, ironically about the years of lead and fascism in Italy and all of that, there was an ad by Homeland Security with Kristi Noem speaking in Spanish, probably not her, but somebody in the name of Kristi Noem speaking in Spanish, a warning of deportation against Mexicans. And I was like, what the fuck? Seriously. It's like, and I remember I explicitly stated, at the time I had explicitly stated no political ads of any kind,
Right.
So that's gonna lead to an interesting conversation to the people, to the agency that's running ads for me and stuff. Because I'm like, seriously, Christy Cohen, like puppy killing lady, that one, like that's who gets to have a voice on my. I was like,
Was it
jeez.
in your thing about Aztec history?
No, not even. Just
Making
apropos
sure
about
they
the
had the
years of lead.
largest possible audience of Mexican people possible for this.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, Jesus. But yeah, so the joys of running ads, right? Which you don't even make that much money with at all, but is at least it's better than nothing. Keeps things rolling.
Right.
Man, I already had it a few times, or maybe there's an ad that's considerably less than idea that pops up, and people are mad because they think that I single-handedly approve every one of them.
Right.
But man, so unpleasant.
I don't think you can escape it now.
No, I thought you would get a kick out of that. I mean, I guess you can escape it if you build it big enough and you can just rely on just Patreon and Substack alone. And then you can just say, screw you to all the ads and not even have to deal with them, which is, it's ideal for sure. It's a good system. And I don't do bad with Patreon and Substack, but I'm definitely not at the place of like, oh, sure, just forget all ads because I can afford to. So that's kind of where I'm in that middle zone, a bit of a limbo zone with that. But yeah, I definitely don't want fucking, ICE saying, we're gonna deport your ass. So get ready. Jesus.
He's like, and then Spartacus rose up against the Romans, and
Yeah, exactly.
now
Exactly. Yeah,
an
yeah,
ad,
yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
like, get out of our country!
Let me find it for you because this email was glorious. So let me see if I find it. The text apparently of what was being said was so bad that if this was in Spanish, right? But it's
Right.
like if you know people living in the United States illegally, you will soon see them because they'll be coming home. My name is Kristi Noem. I'm the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. They can easily self-deport through the CBTH, like whatever the fuck, home app. They'll receive financial assistance, a free flight, and the opportunity to return legally. If they don't, we will find them, and forcibly remove them. Under President Trump's strong leadership, our laws are enforced and our border is secure.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah,
It's like Darth
Jesus.
Vader music comes on. Like,
But yeah, that's apparently what was running on my podcast. I'm like, what in the actual fuck? Yeah. So yeah, fun
are you,
times.
are you listening to this questionably Italian American? It's like,
I know. That's I've had multiple calls from Italy of friends who say, you know what, I don't think you should ever say another word about politics in public while living in US.
right?
That's how worried they are.
I would be too, my friend. It's
Yeah,
getting worse every single day.
I know, man. It's
Did,
disturbing.
did you
Did you
did
see
you see did you see
my?
what he did today? Like I was talking about in the beginning of the show about Portland.
Yeah. Of course,
This
he's.
war ravaged Portland. He called it.
I mean, yeah, the whole thing is so like, ooh, Antifa is attacking our Ice Age. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, there's this fantasy scenario being created, which to justify a non-fantasy scenario, which is sending fucking all sort of armed forces to deal with like a phantom in non-existent enemy. That's disturbing. That's definitely
They
pretty
said maximum
disturbing.
force. Like, what does that mean? They're gonna start shooting people in the street? I mean, what does that mean?
I know. And also, are shooting who?
No,
It's
that's
not
what
that
I'm
they're
saying. Is like,
attacks. It's like what? Somebody with a sign saying "I don't like ice." It's like, what are we talking about?
get up. Most of these
But again,
people are like older people. I went to a protest. There's
yeah,
so many
yeah,
like retirees and older people.
totally,
They're like,
totally.
oh, these people are threatening. It's like,
To stay on brand, I saw that what's the guy's name? What's the name of the alcoholic guy who leaks all the war plans by mistake?
oh, Pete Hegson.
Yeah, that guy. He did you see his defense of the medals of honor for the soldiers involved in what he calls the Wounded Knee battle, which is kind of funny because you can usually have a battle when two sides are armed, not when one side is armed and one is not.
Right.
But that's called the massacre where I come from. But
Right.
the yeah, where he was like, it's settled that they'll keep their medals and that's the end of it, which is like weird performative shit anyway, because I mean, who cares about at that point is like, who cares whether it was horrible what happened in 1890, whether some dude was being long dead get to quote unquote keep their medals or not, doesn't really matter either way. But to make a statement about it, about making no, they are gonna keep it, what kind of performative bullshit is that?
I was talking about that today at work. I was asking somebody, what do you think the purpose of it is? Like to
Yeah,
do something like that. And I was like, there is no other purpose except it's a dog whistle to white supremacists.
totally. I mean, I saw
I
a
mean, that's
friend of
the
mine,
only reason to bring it up. Is to
you
put
know, since
to tell them like, look, we're back. Like.
yeah, completely. I was talking with a friend of mine who was he had a big Instagram channel and he did this post about the 1936 Olympics and Jesse Owens.
Right.
And it's a post about the history of sports,
Mm-hmm.
about the Olympics. It's about Jesse Owens. That's it.
So
And
he
of
didn't.
course,
So he didn't mention like Hitler or any of that stuff. He just
I
talked
mean,
about
he did
Jesse Owens.
mention it, but just realistically, it's a post about the history of sport about Jesse Owens did this badass thing, winning the ton of gold medals at the Olympics in front of a regime that had clearly a racist ideology and all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just for that, he got like a zillion wannabe neo-Nazi comments all about, oh, I can see you're spreading Jewish propaganda. Oh, the German people were superior because they won more gold medals than anybody at that Olympics. Or, one after another, where you're like, back, granted, I don't think this is a majority of people. I still think it's a minority, but back 20 years ago, they would have been kind of hiding in their mom's basement. Now they are proudly in the open, tweeting from their mom's basement. But still, at least they do it. Now they are proud. Now they are like unashamed.
Yeah, well, that is true. But I've been talking about this for a bit too. Is if you go online now and you look around enough, you'll see that some of these people aren't even people. They're bots. And
of
they
course.
and if you go across news feeds and things and look in the
Yeah,
comments, you can
yeah,
see the same comment word for word,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
placed in these
yeah,
comment threads by profiles that obviously, I mean, now that you, I mean, if you were just looking at it, you would think, oh, a person wrote this and put that there.
yeah, yeah,
If you
yeah,
see
yeah.
enough stuff, you start to see it,
Yeah, it's a pattern for sure.
and
No, yeah, it's terrible. And I think that kind of goes back to that paradox, which I don't know what the solution is. I really don't have the answer, but that paradox of, on one hand, free speech is a good cornerstone of a free society, no argument. But at the same time, the fact that the algorithms are manipulating this game and there are nefarious actors manipulating these games through bots, where free speech is then used as a cover to just spread a ton of hatred and radicalizing people in the worst possible ways, kind of makes you wonder if there shouldn't be some kind of regulation regarding just politics on social media, just the degree of hatred that can be spread, the harder crackdown on bots, things that would bring internet back to the people, where you can go on the net and just enjoy stuff, not deal with like 500 hate comments at everything you read.
right? That's what I was telling people. I'm starting to get some of that on YouTube, so which means
Yeah, of
that
course.
this show is starting to catch attraction a little bit because
Yeah, yeah, of
the
course.
haters are starting to come out. And you're like, that's when you know you're doing something,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
they feel threatened by you somehow, and they feel the need to respond. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
No,
it's like really this show isn't even for you, bro.
yeah. No,
That's like the
it's
fact
ugly.
that you're watching and commenting on it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's good for ratings or whatever you want to say,
sure, sure.
and haters pay the bills just like people who love you.
Tot-
But
Totally.
they wouldn't be paying attention if they didn't think something was going on.
No, but it's crazy. I mean, it's like the fact that yeah, social media by now is sort of, if you have it, unless you just limit it to your friends and family, and even then it's tricky. But like if you go beyond that, almost unfailingly there will be comments by random people who are just vomit all their hatred and anger and whatever, and you're like, wow, man, the things people do rather than going to therapy, just it's like,
Or just fucking going outside, bro.
yeah,
Like go
just
take a fucking walk. Like look,
pet a dog, go for a walk. Yes, absolutely.
it's
Not great. It's not a, because I mean, even if like Trump was gone tomorrow or some of the worst things are happening are gone tomorrow, this stuff is not going away. The fact that
no.
people are angry as hell and and the algorithms are feeding on the worst instincts of humanity, that's not going away regardless. So in that sense, the bad things happening politically are a symptom, not a cause. And I don't know what the solution. Well, never mind that. Doesn't matter whether I knew it or not. It's not like I ran Facebook or something where I can make decisions. And of course, we are asking companies to make decisions that are not good for their bottom line because hatred drives engagement. So but yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not sure what's the good way to go about it, but it's pretty clear that the damage that social media has been doing in that regard, it's incredible.
For sure. And it's I don't I maybe I'm naive, but like it seems like years ago these algorithms weren't like that. Like
Yeah.
my news feed has completely changed. Like
Oh,
from the
completely.
way it used to be. Like you don't like I used to just turn it on and I would see my friends' posts. And
Absolutely.
you
No,
scroll down
now
and
they.
and be all the things that your friends posted and you'd be
Yep,
talking to
yep,
them and
yep.
and now it's like White House
Yeah,
Homeland Security,
totally.
this fucking senator that I don't even fucking know from
Yeah, yeah,
some
yeah,
from Oklahoma or some shit, and you're like,
yeah.
why am I getting all this shit in my feed? You're like,
No, absolutely. I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day who said, it was weird. It's like I would watch an MMA match on YouTube, and the next thing that YouTube throws my way, if I let it go, is a Joe Rogan podcast. And the next thing is Jordan Peterson. And the next thing is Candace Owens. And the next thing is basically neo-Nazi propaganda.
right,
You're like, whoa, what the? And you started wanting to watch a fucking MMA match.
right,
It's like,
right,
it's
exactly.
just purely innocent. You know what I mean?
But they're all
And
connected.
yeah, and it's
Dana
just,
Dana White is heavily involved in this shit. I mean, I don't.
yeah, yeah. But,
He's
but I mean,
he's
again,
buddy
it's
buddy
like
with Trump, and
99% of the people who are going to want to watch an MMA on YouTube don't want necessarily neo-Nazi propaganda or even want Dana White's public opinions. They just
sure,
want to watch some fights. That's it. But like the way the algorithm goes is like, I know how we can turn this into outrage and
right,
hatred, which is what, well, we find a way. There's
right,
always a way.
right, right. This way to the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. By the way, what do you think of the Candace Owens going wild on the Charlie Kirk conspiracy theory train?
I'm not that familiar. What is she saying?
She has been saying some pretty wild shit. If I got it correctly, and I'm not repeating incorrect stuff, I read that she was saying that the guy that they caught for being the shooter wasn't the shooter, that the father never turned him in, that like went through all this list of things, basically saying not just the official story is a little shady, which I think we can all tell, but like the official story is made up from A to Z, and none of this is real. And I was like, that's getting bizarre, especially coming from the right.
Right.
It's like,
Well,
so
she is like splintered off. I think
yeah,
into her own wacko thing.
she did because of course, she has a anti-Jewish thing, whereas Shapiro, of course, is very pro-Israel, and so there's that clash between the pro-Israeli right wing versus the anti-Jewish right wing. And I say intentionally pro-Israeli, anti-Jewish because in Candace Owens' case, it's not just an anti-Israel policy; it's pretty clear that she's not particularly fond of Jewish people as a whole.
Right.
But
The
yeah,
Jewish right winger always was a puzzle to me.
yeah, well, the Henry Kissinger of the world. That's
Sure, but I just mean like Shapiro, for
oh
instance.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
and oh, you're riding with these people who literally had
Hate
torches
you.
and screaming like Jews
Oh
won't
yeah,
replace us, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're riding along with these people like I don't get it, like
Yeah, I remember
like they don't
that
think
guy.
that eventually if they did get all the power that those people wouldn't turn on them at some
Oh,
point.
of course,
That's
of
my
course.
point. Is like, well, you just
Yeah,
helped them
yeah.
to achieve
I
their
know.
goals, and then their ultimate goal is to turn on you.
Shapiro was like he went to school at the same, like I think I was finishing grad school or some stuff. In any case, I was at UCLA when Ben Shapiro was at UCLA, and he would publish his dumbass articles every other second on the school newspaper. I hated him before anyone else hated him, I think. I despised the guy when he was 18 years old. I was like,
Well, he's very similar to Stephen Miller.
yeah, yeah.
Because Stephen
Stephen
Miller was the
Miller.
same way. He was there's all kinds of videos of him walking around Duke and ranting and raving, about shit.
Yeah,
And very young, you know what I mean? Like he
of
was 18,
course.
19 years old. But bald
Yeah,
already. For
yeah.
some reason.
There's you if you figure out a good grift early on, you can run your way pretty far from the start. It's yeah, strange as shit. But I'll ask you one last thing before I run. What are you doing for your? And I think this can be repeated. It's a topic that I would like to hear from you more, like even in the next coming times. But like, what are you doing for your own mental health at this time? dealing with all this crap, the news that we're getting that are beyond depressing. What are you doing to stay sane?
I've been saying that for on this show a lot. It's like you have to be careful to not let this all consume you because it can.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've just been trying to I watch football on Sundays.
Oh,
I don't look at my phone the whole
yeah,
Sunday. Like
yeah.
I've tried to make that something that I've been doing. I'm playing in this band, so
Cool.
playing music,
Awesome. That's great.
writing.
That's
Um,
great.
like I said, I've gone to some baseball games. I go
Yeah,
outside. Like tonight, after we're done, I'll go down to Newport and watch some live music.
that's awesome. Good for you.
And
Those are all.
I try to remember the good things that are in life.
Yeah, that's all good advice. That's a very good attitude. I like it.
I
Cool.
I was saying to somebody today, it's like that's the weirdest part about all of this is that you have to still get up and go to
Yep.
work and
Oh yeah,
pretend like everything is normal.
absolutely.
And meanwhile, it's like every day is not normal and more not normal every fucking day. And
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I fear, like I said, I fear for the unknown of the future.
I mean, check
Like
the
I don't
stuff
know
you
what's going to
started with.
happen.
You
What?
know what you mentioned earlier on, the when you have a president of the United States who makes up a non-existent terrorist group telling you we're gonna send troops to deal with it, and you're like, what in any normal country would be like, what in the hell, He's like, that's not a good sign. Or the speech he gave to the United Nations the other day, all your countries suck, I'm the only one who know what I'm doing, you guys should all listen to me. I mean, it's like, my favorite though was the reaction of all his minions when the elevator broke down and the teleprompter didn't work, and they were like, this is war, we need to bomb the UN, we
Yeah,
need to.
that,
Like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ, go smell some flowers, what are you talking about?
I love
It's a.
when they say, "Oh, it's the left is violent with the violent rhetoric," and
uh,
then like that night he's like, "We need to bomb the shit out of the UN for the
or break
escalator
the
didn't work."
elevator.
You're like, "Who's
Yeah,
violent again, bro?" Like, what are you talking about?
pretty wild indeed.
There's a woman. I don't know if you saw this. There was a woman she's running for Congress in Texas or some shit, and put on her social media her like shooting this dummy that was tied to a fucking chair, like,
Good idea. Yeah, that's
and you're like,
that tells
and it
you're.
says the
Oh,
left is violent, and you're like,
yeah,
what the fuck is this?
I
It's
know.
like, we need to
We
turn
live
it
in,
down. Here's a
yeah, we
video
live
of her shooting a man who's tied to a chair. It's like,
yeah, we live in strange times, to say the least.
it's the gaslighting of the whole thing.
Ah, yeah, of course, of
It's just
course. No, I
exactly like what's her name said the other day, Pam Bondi, after
mean,
they indicted Comey, and then she's like, "This is about the weaponization of the Justice Department and how it needs to stop, and
right.
and in order to do that, we're weaponizing the Justice Department."
No,
It's like this
I know.
circular logic of dumb fuckery that you.
Yeah, the lack of self awareness is quite amazing.
Yes.
But let me random. My daughter is texting me to pick her up, so I'll have to go pick her up
All right, my friend.
outside. But thank you as usual for our chat.
Yes.
Hope you have a good one,
I
and
love
we'll
it when
chat
you come
soon.
by. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Have a great one.
All
Bye
right,
bye.
man. Thank you. Daniele Bolelli, everybody. No, he's totally right. It's off the chain, man. And the fact that, like I said, what he's doing now is so egregious. And the Republicans are not going to do anything to stop him. And every day that he realizes that no one's going to stop him, he just keeps going farther and farther. And there's no line. I keep waiting, like, where's the line? Jimmy Kimmel was kind of a line, And people are like, hey, you can't do that. But now he's talking about sending troops to Portland, Oregon. And you're like, that's not a line. Really? The military? Full force authorized. It's like, what does full force authorized mean? What does that mean? I don't know. and like I said, these people don't care. And the only way out of this is to vote in, which is horrible because then you sound like a shill for the Democrat Party, but you're like, the only way out of this is to vote in some Democrats at the midterm election. At least the Congress can subpoena and stop, and pass legislation. They can do all kinds of things. If you until that happens, these nutlickers aren't going to do anything about it. Yes, Julian. Meanwhile, the Epstein file's still out there. Did you see yesterday? He's like, Amelia Earhart files. People want to know, he says. You know what else people want to know about? Fucking Epstein file. Unless somebody said on social media, Aaron Rupar, I think, said, unless Amelia Earhart crashed on Epstein Island, I don't give a fuck. It's like, no one cares. What is... It's unbelievable. And the fact that, like I said, no Republicans are going to stand up here and say that this is not cool. I mean, it's a political thing, right? All this time they're like, well, we have to ride with Trump because he's the leader of the party and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then primary you out if you go against him, blah, blah, blah. That's fine when he's talking shit and doing dumb shit and tariffing and all that shit. But now he's out of control. He's murdering people off the coast of Venezuela in international waters. He's sending the military to Portland to do, I don't know what, war-ravaged Portland, he called it. I was in Portland like 2 years ago doing comedy. And it is not war-ravaged. I mean, it's a city. Like any other city. There's homeless people and shit. But I didn't see no war-ravaged, it wasn't the Gaza Strip, with Antifa soldiers all over, in tunnels and shit. What is he talking about? And again, who is Antifa? Who are they? I mean, most people who come across me probably go, this guy's a member of Antifa. Like, I don't even know how to sign up. Even if I wanted to. Yes. The Supreme Court. See, this goes way back to exactly how stupid and uneducated people in this country are. They don't understand how the system works. They didn't understand it. In 2016, one of the biggest reasons why you needed to vote for Hillary Clinton was the Supreme Court. You see where we're at now? This was a long-term strategy by the Heritage Foundation and I can't remember the other... there's another group, conservative group, that's their whole purpose is the judiciary. I can't remember their fucking name. It's pissed me off now. I should know. The Liberty Foundation, I believe. They're the one that Amy Coney Barrett was part of. They gave him a list of acceptable people, nutlickers, fascists, that would go along with whatever he was doing, and they stacked the court. No, not the Tea Party. I said the Liberty Foundation. I said Amy Coney Barrett was part of it. And like I said, so I believe Kavanaugh was involved in it too. That's what I'm saying is these people are handpicked to do exactly what they're doing, which is to fucking empower a dictator president. They call it the unitary executive theory, which is a king. It's amazing that a country that fought a war to free itself from a king, wrote a constitution so there would never be a king, came back all the way back around to we need a king. Democracy doesn't work, see, because in a real democracy, the elites and the rich people can't control it because it's by the whim and will of the people. It's always been this way. That's why I was saying on the show, there ain't no hope for us. We're going to continue to go in circles and do the same things over and over and over until we're extinct. That's what's going to happen. Because we're not evolving. Devo was right. It's devolution. A lot of people don't know that. Devo seemed like a silly, fun, punky pop group, but the philosophies behind Devo are actually really deep, and the people in Devo are actually really smart. And the name Devo comes from the word devolution. The guy, the singer of Devo, he talks. That's his main thing. He talks about it all the time. That was the purpose of the band, even though they seemed like they were just silly songs, which they were. But if you look deeply into the lyrics of their songs and things, it's very clever, very subversive. His point was that we reached peak evolution and now we're devolving. And like I said before, most human beings are hairless monkeys. They sit around and watch, Big Brother and Dancing with the Stars, and they can't think about the grand scheme of things and like what it really means to be a human being, and they don't care about those things. It's pleasure, Doritos, it's like Kardashians. It's like that's most people, and that's it. The algorithms, like we were talking about the social medias, that's the problem. Is these algorithms are now tuned to these people. The smart people are out. If they're running the companies, or you got a Facebook feed and it's feeding you fucking garbage. And there's no way to change it. Personally, if you want to make rules, I said you don't even have to cut the free speech. You can have free speech. What I want is a way to control my own Facebook feed. Because blocking 1,000 things a day, it hasn't worked. I still keep getting the same shit. Like, why is Ted Nugent's Facebook feed popping, Facebook page popping up in my feed? Like, Julia says the title president isn't appropriate anymore. Supreme leader or his majesty are more appropriate, right? Dear leader, Lord Trump, The whole thing about it is, like I said, I can see this happening if you're like, there's this handsome, articulate, well-spoken, smooth talking, like what J.D. Vance wants to be. J.D. Vance is much more what you would imagine, like, okay, here comes a guy, and then people fall for this shit, and you go, well, I kind of can see how they could fall for it, because he's smooth talking and all that shit. But this guy's not that at all. This guy's an orange clown with bad hair. He's basically a used car salesman and a reality TV fucking clown. And everybody's like, this guy. This is the guy. You're like, how did it get to be this guy? It's like, to me, that's the most puzzling part about it. Yes, I saw that. It said how fast we've gone from the country It was about to cure cancer with mRNA vaccines or whatever. To don't take Tylenol because the monkeys are in charge. I saw a thing today of talking about the guy who got shot, the detainee at ICE facility who got shot during that thing. He got hit with 8 bullets. I'm like, man, that guy's unlucky. Anyway, he got hit with 8 bullets. He's in the hospital, right? And his wife said, oh, they let me see him 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening. Her time is slotted. She only gets 4 hours a day. 2 hours in the beginning and 2 hours at night. And she said she went in there. He's got staples on his head. He's got tubes down his throat. He's in a coma, because he's been shot 8 times. And she said they still had his feet handcuffed to the fucking bed. I'm laughing, but that's fucking horrible. It's fucking horrible. All you can do is laugh because the absurdity of it is, why is this guy handcuffed to a fucking bed? He's in a coma, for Christ's sake. He said ICE is in there 24 hours a day because he might wake up, try to walk off. He's not even a criminal. They said he got a DUI. He's been living in this country for 20-something years. He's a painter, construction worker. And 2 months ago or something, he got pulled over for a DUI. And that put him on the flag. And while he was in jail for the DUI, ICE showed up and took him down to that place. And while they're bringing him into that place, he gets fucking shot 8 times. So they had to take him to the hospital. So he has ICE custody guard at all times, and he's handcuffed to the fucking bed. Really? The guy's not even a criminal. What are they afraid of? He has a wife and a family. They were in the process of trying to get him U.S. citizenship. He's trying to do everything the legal right way. There's a serious reckoning coming for what we have done, what we are doing. It's unconscionable, especially in a country that's supposed to be free. And they're still trying to sell you this freedom bullshit. That's the part about it. That's the thing about American fascism. It's wrapped up in this, Pledge of Allegiance and freedom. Freedom is in everything. Freedom of the national anthem. Land of the free, the home of the brave. We're not free or brave, or this wouldn't be happening. Period. Until it shows you, like we were talking about, me and Daniele just now, about how powerful the internet is, how powerful this technology has brainwashed people. There's a reason why, and there's another part of this. The reason why Charlie Kirk's movement was so successful is because they merged religion and politics together. They made it like, if you don't agree with these conservative policies, you're not a Christian. And a lot of Christianity went that way. Especially, it sounds horrible to say, but it's true. White Christianity has always been, in America, a white supremacist, not all of them, but I'm saying, it's a significant number. The Ku Klux Klan was a Christian organization of people that believed that the Bible itself commands that white people be in charge and that other people are inferior. I don't know where they found that in the Bible, but that's a central tenet of their belief system. And it's always been under the surface. It's not even under the surface. The people at Wounded Knee, the government that ordered the destruction of the Native Americans were all white Christian people. They considered themselves Christians. They went to churches on Sundays. And then they fucking murdered people 6 days, the other 6 days of the week. And it's okay, because they're savages. That's how they justified it. Heathens. savages. They needed to be civilized, which is, I don't know how these things but the framers of the Constitution specifically wrote separation of church and state for that reason. Politics and religion are not supposed to be married together. You're supposed to be free in America to have any religion you choose and worship how you choose. Anybody, not just Christians. They don't believe that. They believe this is a Christian country and the Christians' religion should be dominant. And you're like, hey, wait a minute. That's not really how it's supposed to be, but these institutions are so powerful. The fact that the Catholic Church still exists after everyone knows, it's a fact, you cannot deny it, that it was a sex factory for pedophiles. And then when they caught the pedophiles, they didn't do anything to them. They sent them to somewhere else where they could do the same thing without so people don't know who they are, Like, oh, too many people have found out what you're doing here. We have sent you across the country. But start again. And people are still Catholics. It's a mental illness. I mean, it's not to say that is not fair because you're born with a mental illness. It's a mental virus. How's that? It's so powerful that will make you just like the Epstein files and the things, right? The mega people are so wrapped up in this mega identity that they cannot process what is going on right now. That he's hiding these files from them. Because that would mean they'd have to face the truth. Which, I don't know if you saw that the files that they've released, they don't have very many of them, but already Peter Thiel's in the file. Musk was going on a trip to the island. All these people who have financed this movement are involved in this. They said for years and years and years, Democrats in these files, it's Democrats who are pedophiles that drink the blood of babies in the pizza parlor. That's what they've said for years and years and years, right? If that was true and there are Democrats, I mean, I'm not denying that there's probably some Democrats in the Epstein files, but what I'm saying is, if the majority of people in the Epstein files were Democrats, they would already be out. Those files would be released tomorrow. You don't think Trump would fucking throw that right out on the street? You gotta be kidding me. It's so easy to see through them. But people are blinded by this blind faith. And I said, brainwash. It's a brainwash. There's nothing else you could say. When you're willing to turn every principle you have around and ignore all your morality and all these things. They see all these polls and say 87% of people want the Epstein files released. Democrats, Republicans, Independents, it goes across the board. Right? But yet, none of them will put the two and two together of why is Trump hiding these files? Why is Mike Johnson doesn't want to swear this lady in? Because that would mean that Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie have the votes that they need to force the vote on the floor of the House to release the Epstein files. Why is he delaying? Now they're going to shut the government down. What is in these files they're so scared of? They're terrified of these files. They don't want you to see them. Right? Clinton's name was in it. Good. I said that on this show 100 times. If Clinton was involved in something, he did something, he should be in trouble. It doesn't fucking, come on. Bill Clinton's a pervert, bro. He's been a pervert. Now, it was one thing if he's banging, grown women behind his wife's back. That's something. But if you find out, he's banging teenage girls on Jeffrey Epstein's island, he should go to prison like anybody else. And I think Bill Clinton was a pretty good president. But I'm not exactly She says, Julia, it's not a cult. It's a cult when you must protect your dear leader, even if he was a pedophile. It's a cult, bro. And you're brainwashed. That's what kills me, these lines. Like, Jimmy Kimmel was a line. And Ted Cruz jumped right up. Whoa, this is unacceptable. You can't do this. But he hasn't jumped up about Epstein files. He hasn't jumped up about putting the military in the streets of the United States. He hasn't jumped up about due process of law and your civil rights. No, but Jimmy Kimmel was a line too far. These people have strange priorities. I can't figure out what it is. What are your principles? Or do you even have any? They like to pretend that they do. That's why I don't get it. It's the weird. We didn't really get into it, but we kind of scratched onto the surface when I was talking to Daniele. It's the weird. And when he was talking about his ads and how they're running ICE ads on his podcast, it's the weird conjunction of capitalism and fascism that's weird. It makes it especially weird because there's money being made all over the place over this shit. And that's another part of the problem. But I don't care what they say. Turning Point USA is a grift, bro. They're selling merchandise on their leader's death. That's sick, really. To tell you the truth. It's like, people are capitalizing on this. And the I Am Charlie Kirk t-shirts and shit. Like, are you fucking kidding me? We're like, oh, we're not going to stop brainwashing young people. Because they have to. That's the other part about it, is if you boil down into it, right? What were Charlie Kirk's political principles, political stances? He didn't really have any, did he? It's all cultural grievances and conservative Christian things. Like, oh, trans people are a middle finger to God and this and that and the other. Like, well, that doesn't have anything to do with politics, feeding people and budgets. And politics is boring. That's why people never get involved in it. Real politics, how you govern, is boring. That's why Trump is getting away with all this shit, because people don't want to get involved in, what is a tariff and the tariffs and how are tariffs, who pays them and how do they work and they don't want to know because it's boring. Then you go, trans people are playing sports, and they go, ah, It's easy to rile up people on the cultural differences and grievances and hatreds and prejudices. Same thing. Charlie Kirk, they say, was a religious person. Christian. Well, you listen to his show, he don't sound like a Christian. That's the problem, is that they've perverted Christianity into something else. I grew up in churches, okay? When I was younger, if you went to church, they read a passage from the Bible. There's a chapter. It's like, today we're going to read Isaiah chapter 26, and then he would read that, and then he would give his interpretation of what that meant about how you're supposed to be a good person, or challenges in your life, or he'd go, today we're going to read, the story of Job, and at the end of the story, he would talk about how, this is how you could get through, adverse times in your life, and by keeping strength and faith and blah, 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 and that's what it was about. It wasn't political at all. And now there's all these mega churches and gun-toting churches and Second Amendment churches. And you're like, what the fuck is going on. They perverted Christianity and turned it into some kind of political machine. Then they're also telling you that if you don't believe this, that they're telling you that you'll go to hell, which makes it even, more powerful. For, you're telling your children that Donald Trump was sent by God, and if you don't believe in that, that you're going to hell, and of course, you're a young child, you're like, oh, no, I love Donald Trump, because you don't want to go to hell, because what's in hell? A lake of fire! It's like to burn, suffer for eternity. And you go, you're in the fire, like, oh, I should have voted Trump. It's like, it's a perversion of everything. There is, as I said earlier today to somebody we were talking at work, it's like, I'm so glad I'm older. I'm so glad I don't have children. This world is in a bad place. It ain't going to get no better anytime soon. World War III, I don't know if you've been looking around the world, is that World War III is rapidly approaching. I don't know how you're going to have a world war and a civil war at the same time, but that's kind of where we're at, Maybe we need a world war. Maybe that'll unite us, but it's sad that you need a war to unite people. But consistently in this country, that's the one thing that did it, We go to war, you go, yeah, we're in a war. We got to be Americans, all of us. All of a sudden you forget your differences because, hey, we can hate them. We don't have to hate you for now, That's the problem, is it's been so long since there's been anything to unite us. And even when there was, remember I've talked about this on the show. It was September 11th. Everybody was nice to each other for about 2 weeks. And then we got right back to the partisan bullshit, because the divide in this country is so big. Like Daniele said, that there's no magic solution to fix it. We're in a bad spot. What's going to happen, I don't know. I wish I could sit here and tell you. Like I said, to me, someone asked me that the other day about fear. And they said a lot of all this is driven by fear, and then they asked me, what are you afraid of? And I was like, I don't have fear like a regular person. I mean, I don't know why it went away. Like, I've been shot at, almost killed several times. And now I'm not afraid of any of that stuff. I was standing in the middle of a riot on the floor of a giant arena to a boxing match, and I didn't feel one bit of fear. It was just like, how am I going to get out of this? I don't feel fear like most people do, but I do fear the unknown. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. There's no way to predict this. There's so many ways that this could fly off the rail. And not knowing is what, like, what's going to happen? I don't know. It's like, just gather up a bunch of shit in case it does, because, but I don't know what's going to happen. What does it look like? I don't know. Do people just start randomly killing each other in the street? I mean, I don't know. I've never been in a civil war, How does society keep functioning? Right? If there's a civil war, people start killing each other in the streets. How do the trucks run? How do you get your food to the grocery store? How do you, everything will fall apart. Everything will break down. What does that look like? I don't know. I've never conceived it. I'm glad, like I said before, I'm glad I grew up in Kentucky and I learned all those skills when I was a kid. When you went to camp here, they made you do all that stuff. You had to get a badge for fishing and boating and shooting, and they teach you guns and how they work and gun safety, and they teach you camping and how to start a fire, and you learn all this, how to catch a fish and then how to scale the fish and clean it so that you could eat it. Because back then you could eat fish. It wasn't so polluted. It was like the beginning of things getting so polluted that you wouldn't want to eat it, unless you go to a stocked pond that's doesn't have pollution in it. Then you can eat fish, but you don't get to catch no fish out of the Ohio River. Start eating it, you're gonna get cancer. It's like that's the thing is we've muddied up the world so much that there ain't no going back, you know. Yeah, Joey says, I'm also glad I live alone. I don't ever see myself living with anyone ever again. I don't know about that. I mean, I'd still like to find a partner to hang out with, but yeah, the human race in general is not high on my list anymore. Like, and when I go out, I look around and it's like most people are gleefully just living in their own little bubble, selfish as fuck, don't give a shit, or they're, you know, around here they're proud, you know, chest pounding fucking Trumpers, you know, they're fascists. That's the thing. You gotta sit there and talk to him at the bar and have a beer and shit. You know, and the more you talk to him, you're like, oh, so I see, so you're a fascist. You're like, when you realize how many of these people there are, if they don't even understand the deep implications of the freedom that they're giving away voluntarily, hard-fought, blood-soaked freedom. That they always say, oh, thank the military for keeping us free. And then, but they don't want to be free. That's the thing. It's being free is complicated. People want simple life. Most of them. And I said, most people are hairless monkeys. They'd rather be told what to do. I'm going to follow the system and do what they're told. You know, I watch people every day. You know, even people that you kind of like them. Like, oh, he's a nice guy and all, but like the district manager comes around. It's like they're nutlickers, man. They're pathetic. They have no sense of themselves, the power of themselves, and being a human being. The system sucks your dignity. Slowly sucks it out. You know. And that's what it's designed to do. So that you'll be a compliant slave. That's what they want. That's what they've always wanted. That's what all systems really are designed to do. And America designed a system where they say, hey, you don't have to do that. Every person has a chance to become their own thing. Well, other people like to control other people. So the whole time the American system has been going back and forth, you know, between the idea of what America's supposed to be and then these billionaire fucking industrialists trying to co-opt capitalism and take it over so they can control everything, you know. And it's gone. That's why they had they call them robber barons, or you know, whatever. Or just like you read the stories of the old West, you know, people went out west, right? Because they said everybody gets some property. They all went out there, right? And got property, all of them. And they're all going to set up their own farms and their own thing and blah, blah, blah. Then what happened? The cattle barons went out there. They started buying everybody's land. And if you wouldn't sell, they just kill you. Or they run you off. That's the history of this country. There's wars in many states out west. The Lincoln County War is the most famous one with Billy the Kid. But if you don't know the story, they were fighting against rich industrialist cattle barons who were trying to take over the state of New Mexico. And that's how Billy the Kid even came into existence. I strongly urge you to read, if you still read books, or even go on the internet, look it up. The Lincoln County War, it's called. And the Young Guns, that's what it was about. If you saw the movie Young Guns, like basically that was the story. Like Billy the Kid was just a guy, and he started working for this guy Tunstall, and Tunstall was he was English guy, and the guys that were the cattle barons were Irish. Well, they already hated the fucking English, you know, and plus he was a competition to them. They wanted to eliminate him. So what they do? They killed him, which was that's how things have been done in this country. But they don't tell you these things in school. They feed you this generic sanitized version of American history. And they don't tell you all these subtle things. And that's what we have going on now. The same thing. Except it's tech companies and all this shit. Billionaires, though, who are trying to buy and control the system. And in turn, you. And Trump represents all that. And they somehow convinced the regular person. He's one of them. He's one of you. He cares about you. He doesn't give two fucks about you. They're building a golden palace ballroom right next to the White House so rich people can celebrate controlling your ass. And people are convinced that this is good for them. Like I said, there's no hope for us. I mean, I know this is supposed to be a comedy show of some sort, or a humorous take, but the truth is, there is no humorous take. We're fucked. We can't get past our own, like the Star Trek vision of the future that Gene Roddenberry had of humanity waking up and getting their shit together and realizing there's more out there than just us. It's not going to happen. And I predict any alien species that does discover us will enslave us quick as fuck. And we fucking deserve it. We do it to ourselves. So why not get fucking enslaved by our galactic masters? Yes, Julia. Seems like he's building the ballroom with the intention of staying put. I believe that too. People are already talking about third term. Like, this guy's going to be 90 years old. You're telling me it ain't a cult? It's a fucking cult, bro. We're not even 1 year into this. There's 3 more years to go. It's going to be a long fucking 3 years. But I'm going to be here the whole time until they come drag me out of this basement. So please join me Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. And on Saturdays, we have the wisdom of Daniele for 20 minutes or half an hour. And to me, that makes it totally worth it. Please subscribe on YouTube and the Twitch. Hit the like button if you're watching this show. I hate to sound like a show. But what I'm going to do now is what we were talking about earlier. I'm going to forget about all this for a minute. I'm going to go drink a few beers and listen to some music and pretend like the world's not falling apart around me. Drink myself stupid enough to forget it like everybody else. But thank you for tuning in. And I'll be back on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. I am Bruce Leonard. This is Bruce Leonard Leans Left. While it's still legal. And if you're in Portland, buckle up. We're watching.